Now, time for me to get some lights going. Now, it's not the best weather here in Michigan for wearing a beanie, but I have a beanie that's pretty nice with a light built into it, so we're sucking it up, and we're let's see what's easier for me to hold. Now, right now it's actually pretty bright. Howdy doody, folks. We're gonna do a couple minutes here of spin up, wait for some people to show up, and then I actually have a bit of a script for this live stream. It's nothing crazy. A little bit of Q&A where I tell a story and folks decide if it's real or not. Also, I'm gonna give this lens a quick wipe. It's humid out, so make sure we're looking good. Howdy doody, folks. Let's see, do I have chat on? I do. Hey, Nanny Nan! Great to see you here. Hope it's doing well out in Oregon for you. I think I told you in the comments, I was just out in Portland, Oregon. I was flying through there, but I had an overnight layover, so I had a bit of time. Also, it's beautiful here, isn't it? This is all just pond scum. It's very pond scummy. See, howdy doody to Belograth, the sorcerer. Belogorath, the sorcerer. Sounds like a character from Dungeons and Dragons. Hello, beep boop. Tori Marquez, hello from Oklahoma. Hi, hope you're doing well, Tori. Hello, Riley. Got another flashlight here to kind of paint the woods as we go deeper in. So we're just waiting just a minute here to let some people get in. And in about a minute here, we're gonna go deeper into the woods and get started with the live stream. I have a bit of a script today. So we're gonna be talking about strangeness in the news. So some of this is relatively new, and some of this is relatively old Project Blue Book era stuff that really is just now kind of getting attention. I just thought I'd take a few stories that are more current events or things that don't really fit into the typical channel stuff and talk about them. So, I don't know, some updates here. Little hike. I'm wearing some old tennis shoes I got. If that matters to anybody. It's just an easy hike in the woods. I don't know, for a long time I had a YouTube channel, another one about accessible use of the outdoors. So what do you actually need to go outdoors? And that was where I started. I think I got a total of like 500 subscribers there, and it never really took off, and I couldn't get bigger than that. But I still care a lot about that, which is why I'd like to point out, hey, I'm wearing tennis shoes to go into the woods, and I like to go out in the woods at night to show people it's not scary. All right, let's see, we got a few more messages. Yeah, it's a very nice color. Oh yeah, there's tons of mosquitoes out here too, Anthony. Nice to see you, Tony. It's from a book series called it's going away. Belgariad. I'm a D&D nerd too, though. I haven't played a ton of proper D&D, but I've played the Baldur's Gate series, so I'm very into that. All right, so it's been about 4 minutes, and my plan was to go to 5 minutes and start. Let's make sure my light is adjusted properly. Can I hook this up here? I have this little Saigo light. It's actually a bike light, but it's nice for handheld purposes. Okay, I'm gonna pull up my script, and we're gonna go. So I'll probably clip this and upload it to T-Spot as usual, but just as an intro, howdy doody, folks, and welcome to Strange News. This is a new format for the live stream where I still get to talk to y'all, but we're gonna have some things to talk about too. So I thought, what better a thing to talk about than stories that might become topics of future videos. So today's going to be a pilot episode, and we're going to see what works and what doesn't work. We're still going to walk in the woods, and we're going to talk about essentially things that are just now kind of coming to light that are fun and weird, or things that happened a long time ago that are kind of now getting attention. And that's why it's called Strangeness in the News. Also, real quick updates before we get started. I've got a video coming out on Thursday. Hey, we got a frog. Of Shenandoah National Park's weird folklore. So that's kind of going in the National Park series, which I'm unintentionally making as part of the Dark Places series. And I think it's a good one. I found and compiled some fun stories from that are just lesser heard. I went through a bunch of old forum posts, and if I could find a story told multiple times in different ways, I was like, you know what? It's folklore now. You might hear it again. So it's I think it'll be fun. There's going to be some you've heard before, and there's going to be some that are hopefully new to you that I dug up. So that's update 1. And update 2 is, I think I made a post about this, but I'm going to be making quite a few videos on Vermont. So I think I'm going to start with a video on Vermont cryptids. So what are the creatures, the fearsome critters you might see in Vermont? And then we're going to segue into the Bennington Triangle. So a notorious area and triangle where people go missing. And then after that, we'll do the classic weird folklore video where we talk about everything from people that supposedly froze their elderly for winter so they didn't have to eat food and thawed them out in the spring, to other kind of crazy things, such as why people in Vermont sometimes in some regions say chimney when they're referring to their chimney. So we'll get to that. But for now, we're going to talk about some weird things in the woods, and we're going to have a little bit of a query afterwards. So our first, I wouldn't call it a story, it's nice and muddy here, but our first bit of weirdness is it's come to light, and they've started talking about it in the news. You might have even seen it. In 2023, a tree uprooted near Wawa, Ontario. It's not in the US. And it revealed a stone slab that was carved with 255 Celtic runes. It had a ship on it, and it had 14 X marks on a bit of a map. And the runes spelled out the Lord's Prayer, an old Futhurk, I think I said that wrong, but an alphabet that was used over 1,000 years ago. So experts believe that this was carved in the 19th century, likely. It's a bit contentious. Some people are saying this was carved around 1000, CE, Common Era. So 1,000 years after Jesus' birth, essentially. And others are saying they think it was carved in the 19th century, probably by a Swedish settler or a Hudson's Bay Company worker. And the exact origin and purpose of this stone is unclear to them otherwise. Let's see through my notes here. So most think this is just a private act of faith, but it's kind of contentious. Other people are pointing towards the Celtic people, I guess the Vikings, you could say, making it here a lot earlier. So this is regardless if this is real, it's the largest runic inscription in North America, and the only one known to feature a full Christian prayer. And also, this would predate a lot of the widespread writings about Christianity, is another interesting thing. So researchers are now working to protect the site and learn more about its mysterious past. So that's kind of it for the first story. So with that, I'm going to, if I can figure out how, create a queue. Question. Let's see. Can I not do that? Let's look. Well, if not, I'll just query you. Do we think it's real? Do we think this story is, or this rune is authentic? Let's see. What can I do? Oh, I can sell you products, which I'm not going to do. But I don't know if I can make a yes/no question here. It might be the fact that I'm in Livestream, or that I'm on Android for this live stream. So anyways, in the chat, do we think it's real or not? Do we think this runic stone is real? So let's see the comments. So first off, to address a few of the comments, thank y'all for calling it all right. Anthony or Tony says, hey, that's cool, I found a rock that looks like a shark tooth. You know, I found a shark tooth rock before, back in Tennessee a few times. Oh man, I wish I could show you this. I got spiders. Here, let's see. Oh, he's climbing up the light. And there's spider webs all through these woods. Okay. So people are saying, probably real, just not super old. I mean, yeah, it's definitely real. I will give it that. It's 100% it exists. It's whether or not, by real, I mean, do you think it's from the time, you know, relatively shortly after Christ, relatively shortly after Common Era? I guess that's the question, is it authentic, or was it made by someone semi-modern, probably in the 19th century, like the experts are saying? Yeah, I mean, my 3 paragraphs is probably not enough to make it authentic. Whew! Something scared me. I thought it was hopping around. Definitely a frog. So, probably, that's kind of the boat I'm in, is wait for more information. But I think it's interesting that this thing was essentially buried under a tree, and when the tree uprooted, boom, I mean, heck, under this tree, maybe there's a maybe there's a rune stone. I just think it's neat to point out, neat to hear about. This stuff is often, you know, malarkey, or I wouldn't say malarkey, maybe this was someone's pet project. I mean, I won't say that someone's faith is misplaced or weird. I think it's actually pretty cool that you believe and care about something so much that you would carve it into stone so that it can be found hundreds of years later at the very least. So, but yeah, the Vikings were kind of all over the place, so that's definitely a possibility too. Look at this guy. It's a spider. He doesn't like my light, so whoa, now I'm attached to him. Alright, hopefully I don't have too many spiders all over me right now. Okay, so on to the next story. So second story, and this is we're diving into even weirder territory. So this happened recently, June of 2025. So I'm just saying that for people watching maybe in the future. Famous illusionist Uri Geller claimed via the Jerusalem Post, and by the way, this just happened, that he used psychic powers, specifically remote viewing and psychokinesis, to sabotage the GPS navigation of the aid ship, the Madeleine, which carried Greta Thunberg and humanitarian supplies bound for Gaza. So I'm not trying to get political here. I'm just saying this guy, this psychic, that's kind of just known for spoon bending, which is dubious. Basically, he caught wind. I just walked into a massive spider web. Maybe I'll go back the way I was. This spoon bender caught wind that this aid ship bound for Gaza was damaged. Its navigation systems were damaged, and he claimed that he psychically was the one to do it. And some people are saying that he made this claim actually prior to the navigation system error being pointed out in the news. That's dubious at best, because we heard about his claim in the news after the navigation system was reported damaged. So I'm personally coming in with a debunked on this, but what do you think? I mean, we can go as broad as saying, do you think these spoon bender people are real? Regardless, Geller said he targeted the ship's navigation system remotely and likening his mind to a drone joystick. The vessel reportedly experienced GPS malfunctions near Egypt's coast, prompting the crew to accuse Israel of interference. Though Israeli officials have not confirmed any involvement. And so, I guess you can either go with it's political, or it's a guy with psychokinesis. I'm with Nanny Nan here. This guy's probably, most likely, just a scammer that is saying, hey, I saw this thing happen, and I used my mind to sabotage the ship. Sounds like we're in agreement that, or at least the one messages sound like we're in agreement that This guy sadly cannot disable ships with his brain. That would be a pretty cool power, though. Let me think. Whoa! I just ran into a massive spider web. You probably can't see it very well. I'm gonna try and duck under it. Destroying ecosystems out here. So, let's see. Everyone's saying, no way. He just wants attention, most likely. He just wants controversy. I am with you. Okay, seems we're in agreement on this. For now, spoon benders remain fake. I have spider webs all over me. I'll have to look up this Uri Geller on Johnny Carson clip on YouTube. I haven't seen that. Sorry, I'm just trying to avoid these spiders as best I can. No, I'm with you, the sorcerer. I don't mind spiders as long as they aren't messing with me. But in the forest, I tend to run into them a lot, so it's fine. All right. Moving on to yet another little story. This one's probably more interesting. I think the last one's more controversy and maybe scammery. But this one's just fun. Sorry for fair warning, if you have kids with you or something, this next one is going to discuss, and it has nothing to do with substances, but the word substances will be involved. So in May, near La Plaisance Road in Monroe County, Michigan, so not too far from me, a father and son reported a startling Bigfoot sighting while they were fishing. I think I might talk about it a little more on the next episode in particular, but they heard a heavy thump, and they basically saw a 6-foot-tall gorilla-like creature fall out of a tree and begin approaching them before their dog started barking at it and chasing it and ran it off into the woods. It all happened really fast, and there was no photographic evidence, so who knows, maybe there's a gorilla up here. Boy, wouldn't that be swell. If I looked up in a tree and there was a gorilla midstream, that would really make me happy. But anyways, what I'm interested in and what I think is fun is the response to this. So regardless of your stance on this, I think this is pretty funny. I'm covered in spiderweb right now. A local, let's say, substance dispensary named Unique has since turned the events into a promotional gimmick, and it's offering free substances, you know what, to anyone who can actually bring in a photo of this Bigfoot or gorilla or whatever it is. And they actually put up a sign along Interstate. Oh my God, I got a spider web in my mouth. They put a sign up along Interstate 75 that says, "Bring photo proof of Bigfoot for a free pre-roll." I'm not going to describe what that is on stream. Not my purview. I'm not that kind of YouTube channel. But yeah, if you get a photo of Bigfoot, because apparently Bigfoot was seen up in another part of Michigan, I still have spiderweb in my mouth, you can get free stuff. So basically a little bit of extra here. Monroe County, if you're a fan of Bob Gimlin, he's a Bigfoot-centric YouTube channel. He's talked about a Bigfoot sighting there before, so there's actually a decent history of size 19, as they call it, Bigfoot, being out there. He has kind of just been a focal point there. A lot of people go hunting and camping out there too, so that's part of it as well. So anyways, if you have photographic evidence of Bigfoot of any sort, I bet you anything that this promotional gimmick can get you some free stuff if that's what you're into. Not really my speed, but hey, no problem. All right, let's see. So do you think, let's make the question, do you think this Bigfoot sighting was authentic? Or should we just say all of them are authentic and Bigfoot's definitely real? He's kind of my channel mascot after all. Let's see. Glad people look like they're enjoying it. I wear a size 12. If I take a picture, can I get a pre-roll? You know what? If you're in the area, I betcha if you put like a little bit of hair on there or something, I don't know, even find a cat you know, give it, it's summer, so they could use a little shave a little hair off, glue it to your foot. I bet you got a case. Mountain Monsters crew has changed their name to Sons of Appalachia. Wow, I didn't know that. I want to believe them. Yeah, I want to believe them too. I think there's black bears in the area. If I'm remembering the right area now off the top of my head. I think there's a deer out here. Also, I'm going to make sure. Let's see. Yeah, maybe it was a bear in a tree that fell and then stood upright. So right now we're just in we're actually in Ypsilanti, kind of outside of Ypsilanti, Michigan. We're in Marshall Nature Area. It's kind of one of my places I go. It's quiet, not many people go in them. There are some neighborhoods, as if I could turn off my light here. You can see them in the distance. You know what? I don't think I need my big flashlight right now. I think my life is easier if I just go with the headlamp. It kind of makes it spookier too. Yeah, no, it's always fun. So there's constantly Bigfoot stories, which is fun. I think I'm gonna make a whole episode on recent Bigfoot sightings in states one day and see how it does. I love the stuff. I'm never entirely sure if I buy it, but I also don't entirely see what a modern person has to blame it or has to gain from lying about Bigfoot. Yeah, I think if you were the first one, if you're, you know, the Patterson Gimlin film, then sure. Bigfoot was all the rage back then around that time. They were making a movie about Bigfoot. It all added up. The stars were in their favor. If they told a lie about that, I'm not saying they did, but if they told a lie about that film being real, then they were golden. They could have cashed in on that. But I don't know if they necessarily did as much as they could have. But right now, I mean, Bigfoot's old news. People just kind of laugh at you for lack of a better term. I don't, but some people do, if that makes sense. All right, let's see. Gary says he's definitely real. I like the spirit. Will you make a video centering on Minnesota folklore cryptids? Would definitely watch. Oh, definitely. I kind of want to go back to my old format. Well, not old format. If you remember from right after I started the Ohio video, I made a video on cryptids. I made a video on weird folklore. I made a video on ghosts. And I think I'm just going to go back to doing that for every state because it breaks it up nicely. I like putting the cryptids in the weird folklore videos because frankly, they do make it easier because cryptids are easy to find and they're well talked about. But I think it is a nicer distinction. Oh, wow. See the deer? Let's see. I'm going to get my light out. I can see his eyes. I don't know if you can. But watch this. See him out there? I won't bug him too much though. There's a raccoon around here. Okay, sorry, I heard a raccoon squealing. Wigged me out a bit. Okay, we're going on to. Also, one last question to answer. Don Quixote, I like that. Said any information on pale crawlers? Well, if you like pale crawlers, keep an eye out for my Shenandoah video. I actually found what is a pretty reputable pale crawler account. So my Shenandoah video comes out this Thursday, and there's a pale crawler story in it that predates the rake, which is the original kind of pale crawler that was invented on the internet. It doesn't predate it. It's pretty much parallel to it, which is pretty darn incredible if you ask me. Okay, going on to our last little story. So this is the fourth one. And this is actually not a recent thing. This is a thing that happened a long time ago that was documented but not really talked about, that is now kind of starting to get attention. I've seen circling around. And I hadn't really run into it much, but there's more information that came out, so I thought I'd summarize it for you, see if it's interesting, see if you think it's legit, if you think it's real or not, let me know. And most importantly, you know, if I get information on it, I'll do more research and I'll dig into the first-hand accounts. Maybe I'll buy a book and read it and report what I find. So anyways, for this story, it is not 2025. The date is September 4th of 1964 in Cisco Grove in Placer County, California, high in the Tahoe National Forest, about 35 miles from Auburn, California, if you know the area. I think I remember some of y'all do know your California geography well. So anyways, on this day, we had an eyewitness named Donald Schrum. He was a 28-year-old, and he was out hunting in the area with his friends. So he became separated from his friends this night. Sorry, I'm walking over a log bridge. And because of that, he climbed a tree at night for safety. In the area, I'm pretty sure there's grizzlies, there's black bears, mountain lions, all sorts of things that you want to kind of get off the ground away from, probably. And while he was in this tree, he saw a zigzagging white light that he mistook for a helicopter that was looking for him, maybe. And the light hovered about 50 yards away from him before revealing a massive cigar-shaped UFO that he said was 150 feet long, which is pretty big by cigar-shaped UFO standards, at least in modern day. And also there was a smaller kind of scout-type craft that came out of it. So after this, the scout-type craft would go away, and shortly after, 3 beings would appear. 2 humanoids in silver uniforms. They were wearing goggle-like gear, and one robot-like entity with glowing red eyes approached him and started shaking the tree. So the robot started spraying a white kind of vapor-like substance, and this apparently made Schrum, our witness, something's out there, our witness, Schrum, start to lose consciousness. He was awaking here and there multiple times, and he'd start defending himself with lighted matches he would throw at the creature, and arrows that he was swinging at the creature. And also he was lighting his arrows on fire at some point and hitting the robots with it and creating sparks. And then more robots appeared and started also spraying gas at him. That's how the story goes. So regardless, this confrontation supposedly lasted hours and until dawn. And around dawn, these robo-aliens apparently gave up and returned to their ships. I guess they didn't want to be spotted. And daylight came, and he was hanging onto the tree by his belt, basically. At this point, his friends ended up finding him because he was making noise. They too apparently saw a cigar-shaped UFO this evening. And anyways, when they got there, they found some of his clothing were burnt. They found broken arrows. They found marks on the tree and signs of a struggle. So I think this is kind of interesting. You don't often see class 3 close encounters that involve pretty much physical interactions with a non-human being and a UFO. I don't know, and this is also one of the more dramatic UFO encounters. You don't often hear about people getting this close and not getting abducted. And it also reminds me an awful lot of what's it called? The Mississippi River, not Mississippi River, the Pascagoula River UFO abduction, if that makes sense. So it reminds me of that because remember that the creatures they were like robots with lobster hands or something that came after them. Now in that event, the lobster robots did successfully abduct our 2 protagonists. But this event, it might sound silly because, you know, he's a man fighting robo-alien with an arrow that he was hunting with. But NICAP and Project Blue Book kept files on the case. And those are now open to the public. And frankly, I might do a deep dive on them if people think they're interesting. So, anyways, with all of this in mind, we have to ask, robo-aliens, are they real? Aliens, are they real? I think that question is yes. I don't know if they're here, but I think they're real. Or I know it would be pretty crazy if they weren't. What was that white vapor the robot was spraying him with that was making him pass out? Did the robots use chloroform, I guess? Was it I don't know. Let's see. Also, why target a solitary hunter? What's the value of getting crumb in this situation? I don't quite understand it. I don't quite understand why make a big fuss and potentially get your, alien secrets discovered for the sake of abducting a hunter. And what became of the physical evidence? The arrows, the tree was this followed up on? So anyways, I just thought that was a pretty interesting case, and I'd love to hear if you think it's interesting. Let's see. All right, so reading comments, I know there's a bit of latency. I think there's like a minute between me talking and people actually hearing me talk. Oh, so let's look. Someone said something about a berserk squirrel in Pascagoula. Now that's debatably scarier than any alien. You can get rabies from a squirrel. Let's see. Someone said, what are pale crawlers? So pale crawlers, my explanation of them is they kind of do the uncanny valley thing, which is to say they appear human almost. They are bipedal. They have, it appears, usually in most depictions, 5 fingers, 5 toes, but those fingers are really sharp, and these creatures are really tall, and they're usually very lanky and skinny, and they usually have sharp teeth. They look essentially like a human. Their features are just elongated, and they're usually depicted as having extremely strong carnivorous traits, which is to say they have, I actually just described them, sharp features that you would think would be used to pierce and chew, and they're often depicted as hunting people, if that makes sense. So if you know of the rake, if you just Googled the rake, well, first off, you'd see a rake, like a garden equipment, but after that, you would see a kind of a tall, lanky, pale, white creature. These things kind of started appearing more on the internet around 2006, when on 4chan, there was this thing called the rake that was invented. That's what I was just talking about. They basically invented him in a forum post. A bunch of people got together and said, let's create a cryptid, and they did, and they started telling fake stories about him online, and people started to believe he was real through a creepypasta that they invented, essentially. Now, there are stories about this sort of thing that predate the rake, and they're very sparse, tough to come across, and usually they're just like, you know what they're talking about through context clues. They don't really point out the features specifically. So I might make an episode on them. I might do like a creature feature. I've been thinking about doing that. I think it's an interesting topic. I think digging back to pre-rake in the pale crawler lore is something that's desperately needed to clear up what's fact and what's fiction. But they're an interesting topic. Let's see. Berserk Squirrel is hilarious Ray Stevens song, the Mississippi Squirrel Revival. I'm going to listen to that on my way home. Let's see. So, honestly honestly of this hike right now. Is it too damn warm there? So it's really warm here. It's about 92 degrees. And I'll take it off for a second. I'm wearing a beanie right now because it's got, on the front of it, it's got a light. So I'm using it to light the path. It's very hot. And it's very mosquito-y, so I'm going to be covered in bug bites. But, yeah, we're getting a heat wave all across the, I think, eastern U.S. My parents are in Tennessee, and they were saying it's in the 90s. It was near 100 today. And I'm in Michigan right now. And it's freaking hot as butt cheeks out here, as I say. It's not pleasant. But we're going back down to the 70s and 80s here in the next couple weeks. And also, I do have a bit of a surprise. I'll be in Colorado for work here in about 2 weeks. So I'll be in Fort Collins for 2 weeks, in 2 weeks, for work. So I don't know. If anyone's in the area, post on my community page, DM me or something, and I'll buy you a beer or something. But I'll be in that area, so I think I'm going to do a live stream from there. I think I have a couple days of freedom on one of the weekends, so I think I'm going to do a Colorado live stream because I have to, and I might talk about Colorado specific stuff there. Yeah, I don't want to surprise the skunks. I actually smelled one earlier and got a little scared. So yeah, that's what's going on here. And anyways, excited to cover all this with y'all. It sounds like y'all enjoyed it. A lot of more people were sticking around this time, so hopefully this was fun. So, anyways, I'll talk now until I'm out of the woods. But I think that's about it in terms of stories. I just wanted to go through some stuff that's circulating right now, kind of gauge your interest, see what you like, see what you thought about these things, and yeah, I'm gonna upload this video to T-Spot afterwards. I know I've been saying that about the last few streams, but it just kind of felt wrong. I felt like I needed to have a theme, and I think the theme for now is going to be talking about these weird things that are circulating in the news, and I'll throw some pictures up there too, so it'll be kind of lower effort, but I will just upload these streams, strangeness in the news, and then eventually I have another phone, so this is my phone, my personal phone, but the phone I stream on is different. So it's got a different service and a different phone number. So I'm gonna let people call in, and we can take your own stories. So I think I'm gonna get a little camping chair and prop it up in the woods, maybe around a fire, and we can do a radio show. And I'm gonna try and do these. I don't know. I'm gonna try and do strangeness in the news weekly. I'm going to try and do camping chair radio show monthly. In the winter, that's going to be a lot more tolerable when there's less bugs and less heat. But that's the plan right now. So I'm glad people think this was chill. I think it's fun. Honestly, I always need to get more steps in. I sit in an office chair for my job, and then I sit and do YouTube work at night. So while I do go to the gym every day, it's good for me to go and get some steps in, and in addition to my run, make sure I'm all up. So anyways, that's about it. I'll walk to the end of the woods here, but got to get back to Toffee and my wife. Toffee's gonna be very upset that Daddy was not in bed with her. She likes it when the whole family's in bed. That's her preference. And I will get Toffee out here for a stream again soon. It's too hot for her right now. It's 90 degrees. So she's a little black dog. It's a lot for her, especially if it's sunny out. So she's exhausted. Hey, it's nice to chat with all of you. I really hope you're all having a good summer. A lot of bad stuff going on in the world right now. I want to, I don't know, give you a little break from this, say howdy doody, and remind y'all that I really appreciate y'all. And it's really good to see you. Anyways, there's the exit to the woods. And as they say in that show, I don't know how copyright stuff works, but I'm going to say it, whatever. And now my watch is over. All right. You have a great rest of your evenings, folks. Later, y'all.